This vacation stinks. I'm Jason Horton.
I'm Rebecca Lieb.
And this is Ghost Town.
So many families, so many couples just getting home tonight after days trapped at sea on that Carnival cruise ship, Triumph. The real triumph, though, those passengers simply getting through it all. The so-called cruise from hell finally docking in Alabama, 5 days after a terrifying engine fire knocked out power and turned that ship into what some called a floating petri dish.
I want to tell you about the Carnival Triumph disaster, also known as the poop cruise. Have you heard of this?
It's pretty infamous.
Yeah.
I've been on one cruise in my life for my sister's wedding.
Yeah? She got married on a ship?
She got married in the Bahamas, but that was part of it. And she loves it. She goes on cruises all the time.
My parents are huge cruise people. Huge. I've been on maybe 20 cruises.
Oh, that many?
Yeah. My brother got lost on a cruise ship one time. I've never seen my parents more terrified. He went into a room, and it was one of those giant cruise ships. He went into an unlocked room on the other side of the ship, and he had his little Game Boy with him, and was just playing games for 15 hours and kind of sleeping and playing games. Everyone was in a frenzy. He didn't show up to dinner the whole night, and I was a teenager, but my parents they finally found him. One of the service people saw a door ajar and a 10-year-old boy playing his Game Boy, which had not run out of batteries, surprisingly enough. And they were we found him. My parents freaked out. I've never seen my parents so upset in their whole life.
Maybe I should just remind them just to be better parents and be mindful of where your children are.
I wasn't there. I was trying to sneak booze from the
It probably wasn't very
ships.
hard.
Yeah, no. It was not. Well, I looked very young, and people were we're pretty sure you're not of age. And I was me?
What I remember about the cruise I went on is somebody, you go and you kind of settle your bill because it's all inclusive, except sometimes the alcohol is
Yeah, they'll
not.
upcharge you for some
And
shit.
people don't realize how much that adds up over time. And this woman had a 4-page bill of thousands of dollars and was freaking out, lost her mind. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I got to imagine that happened. I'm very interested in the culture and the business.
Yeah.
Because a lot of comedians will do, improvisers will do cruises.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Second City or something.
Cruises. I tried to do that. I didn't get chosen. Still bitter? No. Actually, it sounds gross. I think I would go crazy. I think a lot of the people I know who did Second City cruises are they're on for 4 or 8 months and they can't. And then some people are just lifers and they just live in a cruise ship for the rest of their lives. I don't know. Anyway, you wouldn't want to live in this cruise ship because it was a freaking nightmare. The Carnival Triumph, now called the Carnival Sunrise, is a Carnival Cruise Line ship. 893 feet, 4 inches long, 116 feet, 6 inches wide, holds 101,509 tons. It's a big boy. It's a big ship and holds many, many passengers. So I'm going to take you back to 2013. On Sunday, February 10th at 5:30 a.m., the ship had a fire in the engine room. This was the 4th engine room fire on a Carnival-owned ship, resulting in the loss of power, including the Tropical in 1999, the Carnival Splendor in 2010, and the Costa Allegra. So it's not a good scene. They have a long track record of fires in these engine rooms. Didn't stop them from just sending another ship out with thousands and thousands of people.
And Carnival is probably the most popular one.
And this ship is renamed. It's now the Sunrise. So they're just send it back out there. Which I kind of get because it costs them millions and millions of dollars to make the, it's $400 million to make a cruise ship. So I get being well, it still works, but also when these ships have reputations like what I'm about to tell you, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to hear about it. Maybe people just kind of turn a blind eye, but it really sours just the experience of it. And I love cruise ships. I think it's really fun. I think it's a really weird experience. You play bingo. My other brother, not the lost one, played on a cruise ship with a bunch of old people. He won Golden Girls trivia. He's gay. We didn't know.
Not because of the trivia. He was before he did the trivia.
He was before, but oh my God, he schooled these 90-year-olds in Golden Girls trivia. It was great. He got a button and he got a keychain and a deck of cards. So anyway, again, that was a good experience. This was a bad one. The fire was automatically extinguished and there were no injuries to the passenger and crew. It resulted in a loss of power and propulsion. 4,000 passengers woke up to a fire alarm and the backing up of raw sewage in the passenger and deck area, which I was like, I intellectually understand what's happening here, but watching the footage, which we're gonna give you a little sample of the footage later, you realize like how fucking disgusting this is. You're in a petri dish of other people's bacteria, and you
kind of always are. Even in the best case scenario, that's the nature of a classroom, a public place, a mall, a gym. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But like when you have like feces afloat, and I'm not even talking about just around. It's like it's bubbling out of your sink. You know, it's in your walkway, and you don't have air conditioning. You don't have anything. It's just like everything is. It's so gross.
Box.
I'm getting grossed out right now.
Did anyone ever say the feces on the CCs?
On the CCs?
Yeah.
Like 20 cc's of feces?
Like on the
or
CCs.
On the high C's?
Yeah, I'm being cute with the word C's.
Oh, I see.
But not cute about the feces part.
So just on our deck alone, there were the biohazard bags lined up across the floor. Passenger Bettina Rodriguez says, "We're talking about raw sewage at just the end of our deck alone. It was repulsive. Bags of feces, bags of biohazard bags, and bags upon bags of anonymous human feces, 4,000 people."
I would have claimed mine. I would not be anonymous.
Which one is mine? Exactly. Where's my name? Lunch bag. So gross. Carnival Triumph was originally expected to be towed to the Mexican port of Progreso. However, after being carried north by currents while awaiting the arrival of large seagoing tugboats, they changed it up and tried to dock in the middle of Mobile, Alabama instead. Mobile?
Yeah, that sounds right.
I'm Southern.
Yeah, I know. You're a Southern belle.
That's right. Prim and proper. Passengers had no food, water, or air conditioning. Feces would be all over. They would bubble up from the shower drains, on the floor, everywhere. Apparently, too, and this is very fucked up, the crew was instructed to act like the black fecal matter awash in everyone's lives was just no big deal. So they were like acting cool. So it must have made the people who were already on the ship feel even crazier, where they go to somebody and they're like, "Can you help me? Like, this stinks," and the smell, like all of it. And the, employee was like, "Oh yeah, sure. What would you like?" And they're like, "Fresh water." And then he's like, "Oh, I'll see what I can do. Are you okay?" And they're like, "Nobody's okay. This is anarchy." By February 11th, 2013, emergency electrical generators allowed some restoration of some shipboard functions. During the night of February 10th, supplies were transferred from the Carnival Elation. Carnival Legend was en route from Tampa and arrived on the scene about 3 p.m. on the afternoon of February 11th to complete a transfer of food and water to take on a patient in need of dialysis for transport to Cozumel. So other ships were coming from different places in the ocean to give them things they needed. And can you imagine, too, psychologically, seeing another cruise ship come to your cruise ship, which is awash in other people's waste, drop off some cans of Spam, and then leave, taking only one person on dialysis,
and then doing they're doing the electric slide and stuff like that.
There's like a disco night, and you're like, God, they're like midnight buffet, chocolate fountain.
I'm surprised it wasn't something like I don't know what happens on international waters, but I'm surprised there wasn't more intervention aside from other cruise ships.
Yeah.
Sounds like an emergency.
I know, and again, is this like some maritime law thing? Is that even a real thing? I know people say it because of Arrested Development. It's not like very funny anymore, but I do wonder. But I think that Carnival Cruises, because watching a lot of the reporting on this, they were trying to handle it. Like they were making it out to be something smaller than it really was.
I guess if you include the Coast Guard or the military,
we'll talk about the Coast Guard, who delivered 3,000 pounds of equipment, which included a generator and electrical cables, to the Carnival Triumph in the Gulf of Mexico on February 13th, 2013. So sailings were canceled. The Carnival Cruise Line announced the first phase of a fleet-wide review to include installation of backup generator systems and line of ships, of course. Great. But still, I just want to emphasize this cruise was a 4-day cruise. These people were on the ship for 8 days. Double the cruise with nothing. With really nothing. People were hoarding different...
But they didn't get charged extra for those extra 4 days.
Well, we'll check the bill. You got to check the bill. So make sure no one upcharges you. Be smart about your cruising, people. The goal for the Triumph was to reach the port in Mobile by early afternoon on February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day. Fuck you. But strong winds delayed the expected arrival. Eventually, 4 tugboats were towing the ship with a 5th on standby. After a tow line broke, arrival was delayed still even further. Can you imagine? These people are just like, I am in hell. All I wanted to do was like take a nice cruise with my daughter, and here we are living in a rung of hell. The ship finally docked by 9:20 p.m. on February 14th, and passengers, clad only in dirty bathrobes, there's footage of this, as they came off the ship, they kissed the ground and were like screaming and crying, and also smelled awful. It was awful. A 4-day cruise became an 8-day cruise, unsanitized, disgusting. Carnival put the passengers on buses headed to either New Orleans or to Galveston, Texas. The company had promised to cover all travel expenses home and to give each passenger $500 in compensation, as well as a credit for another cruise. What do you think? Oh, the value. And actually, this is like debated whether they gave certain people more or less or whatever, but the arrogance of Carnival Cruise being like, you can come on a new cruise if you want after this like hell. It's so fucked up to me.
You know,
and only $500 too.
People took them up on that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, cruise people, again, as someone who is a cruise person, I feel like I'm comfortable saying this. There's some filthy cruise people out there, you know? There's some weird ass people who are going over onto these ships and playing weird trivia games and eating the midnight buffets and, you know, doing karaoke nights and living their weirdest selves. An incident investigation was then started by the Bahamas Maritime Authority, the U.S. Coast Guard, and the National Transportation Safety Board. The Bahamas Maritime Authority was the lead investigative agency because Carnival Triumph is a Bahamian flagged ship. Initial reports from investigators on February 18th indicated that the fire was caused by a leak in the flexible fuel oil return line from the number 6 diesel engine, allowing the fuel to spill onto a hot surface and just ignite, just light it on fire. So I want to thank ABC, CNN, the New York Post, the Washington Post for this very graphic reporting, and I think we should play a little clip for you so you can get a little taste of it.
You know what's completely poop-free? I just checked.
What?
It's not always poop-free, but I just checked. It's totally poop-free. Patreon.com/GhostTownPod. It's
sanitized?
Totally sanitized. The buffet is open with bonus episodes, ad-free episodes.
Like they can gamble a little bit?
You are gambling.
It's this movie. Is there a magician, though?
Yeah, the magic of story.
Well, barely. Yeah. Anyway, check out this clip. You can see for yourself.
36 hours into the crisis, no hot food, no hot water, no AC, and the ship was listing.
When we were leaning one way, it was kind of a little nerve-wracking.
Worst of all, backed up toilets. There was sewage everywhere.
We got one flush, one time.
5 days, one flush.
5 days, one flush.
For toilets, the ship handed out these red bags.
People were using the restroom in little red plastic bags and throwing them out into the hallway.